coming up on Wrestling Life.
Jim Cornette was talking about it on TV. He said, yeah, the Godwinns had a slop bucket for Sonny one night, and then come to find out there was 23 different DNAs in that bucket. I can tell you the story real quick if you want to hear it.
Sure, go on.
This is Wrestling Life with Ben Veal, the show that celebrates wrestling's past, present, and future with real talk from real talent.
Welcome one and all to another Wrestling Life with Ben Veal, your go-to destination for real talk from real talent. Joining me on the show today is a WWE legend and the second member of the BSK to be a part of Wrestling Life. He's a two-time WWE Tag Team Champion. He had one of the most memorable World Wrestling Federation characters of the 90s, and he has some incredible stories to share with us today. My guest, of course, is Mark Canterbury, better known to us wrestling fans worldwide as Henry O. Godwinn. Mark, welcome to Wrestling Life. How are you, my friend?
What's up, Ben? Glad to be here with you, man. We've been planning this for a little while, so I'm glad we finally got it on the table.
We did it. It always takes a bit in the planning, but I'm so pleased we're doing this. I've got so much I want to ask you about. Recording this in 2025, of course, you're getting set to make an appearance at WrestleCon. What's your relationship like with the wrestling business these days?
Just other than doing the signings, not much. We went, me and Phineas went down a few months ago and did the 6 Feet Under podcast with Taker and Matt Lyda. And we got, we just do the signings, and it's good to see the boys. After so many years, I'm always seeing somebody that freshens my day up, and it's good to just get together and sign and tell stories and tell our war stories.
It's funny. I
got WrestleMania coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I often think with those
WrestleMania in Vegas, so looking forward to that.
You and Godfather, no doubt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, supposed to go over to his house when we go out to Vegas, so that'll be interesting.
Yep. I'm glad you brought up 6 Feet Under, because obviously I watched your episode that you did, with Mark, and it must be, I'd imagine, having been his friend for so long, it must be so nice for you for the world to finally see the Mark Calaway that you've known for 30 years, who for so long was just the Undertaker, who kept that kayfabe going for so long, and now here he is talking, laughing away, and having a great time on his show.
Yeah, and it is. It's a breath of fresh air to see him let his hair down and be Mark instead of the Deadman, because I was with him so many miles up and down the road, him and Paul, and him staying in character and not breaking it. And it was tough. I was a silly hillbilly, so I could do anything I wanted to. But yeah, it's real nice because he's very intelligent, very reserved, conservative, and it's nice to see him come out of his shell and be able to do all this.
It's amazing for us fans, because of course we heard all these stories over the year about him being kind of the locker room leader and what he was like away from being the Undertaker, but we never got to see that. And so I think that's, a big reason why 6 Feet Under has done so well so quickly. It's just fans, I don't think, can get enough of seeing the real Mark Calaway after so long entertain us as the Undertaker. The last time that WWE fans saw you, of course, was on a grand stage was in 2020. And that was when you returned for the Undertaker's retirement ceremony. And obviously that was an incredible night, even though it took place in the Thunderdome rather than in front of a stadium full of fans. But it kind of worked, because without an audience, they were able to do so much more to make it really spectacular and special. What can you tell me about being there for Mark's last night, which I'm sure was very emotional for everyone?
Oh my God. Yeah. It was just, we were just sitting there just in awe. I was getting cold chills on me, and hearing his music, it always, even on the road back in the day, when I'd hear his music, it was just like him and Steve's when the glass would break, Stone Cold. So those two always sort of stuck out the most to me. But man, we all got together that night, the BSK, and we did pretty good at the bar. I remember Godfather and Taker had to put some of us to bed as usual, but we hadn't been together for over 20 years, all of us at one time. So
really, wow.
We were talking how we made up for 20 years in one night. I had seen everybody, but not together. So for us to get together down there and let our hair down, we made up for 20 years. But yeah, I love those guys. And, got good memories.
Yeah, I mean, so the first BSK member that I've had on this show is obviously your good friend, the Godfather. Now, I asked him before we came on air tonight, I asked him if he had a message to pass on to you. And he gave me 3 words, Mark, which mean absolutely nothing to me, but he said, you know exactly what I was talking about. He said to me, test the water.
Test the waters. Yeah. We send that to each other all the time. He'll say something and I'll comment, send a smiley face and say, test in the waters.
I love it. I mean, this whole kind of Bone Street Krew group that you had, I mean, when I asked Godfather about it, he described it as a brotherhood. I mean, what did the BSK mean to you, and how big a part of that was that of your wrestling life?
Oh my God. It wasn't a gang mentality. It was a brotherhood. I mean, it felt like look at the diverse people we had. We had rednecks and blacks and Puerto Ricans and Samoans and it was just a crazy group. You wouldn't think that it would, but it would work, but it did. And we were close on the road and off the road. And that's what made it that much more special. We knew each other's families. I lost a son, but everybody knew my sons, back in the day, and it was just nice having them around. It was comforting, and you didn't feel like you were going at it alone. You had somebody to help, if you need to talk over a match, you just had. And then Phineas came, and after about a year of me being up there, and we picked up where we left off. And but it was just nice having that group of guys that knew, cared about you, Savio, and so it was real nice.
I saw a photo recently you shared online with you and Phineas or Dennis and Rikishi. I guess you kind of see each other, but it's very rare that you all get together as a group, but you still try and see one another when you can.
Yeah. We try to. I know I just got my passport sent away ready, and we got me and Phineas hadn't been in Canada since '98.
Wow.
So we're going up there this year in a few months to do the Montreal Slam Fest, September 20th.
Amazing.
And Godfather's going to be there with me and Phineas, and they're setting up a Q&A for us 3 in the BSK. So it's a private signing. It's going to be a lot of fun. There should be some good stories we can tell. Hopefully nobody's recording us.
Oh, people will be recording. They always are. So I want to kind of jump back. You mentioned him briefly, Phineas, but I want to jump back to your first meeting with Dennis Knight in the late 1980s. So of course Dennis would go on to become your long-term partner in both the WCW and then later the WWF. How did the two of you first meet, and what bonded you together?
Well, I had, I'd only been I started in business in '89 with George South, an Italian stallion. And trained for a couple of years, and they started taking me to do TVs in Atlanta because we were just a few hours from Atlanta. So I would ride with them, go down and be an extra. Well, I was doing pretty good, and so they started putting me in a little bit different matches, and I worked Elegante, I worked Ron Simmons, I worked PN News, I worked Johnny B. Bad as, me and Mark Canterbury. And then I worked Eric Watts one night at Center Stage in Atlanta. And that's when his dad, Cowboy Bill Watts, and Dusty had taken over and were running WCW. It's just like into 91, somewhere right there. I had a hell of a little match with Eric Watts on TV that night. Excuse me. And so I went back, and me and Eric talked for a minute, and I went and getting ready to take a shower, and somebody come in and said, Dusty and Jody, somebody's looking for you. So I'm like, oh, shit. So they said, hey, can you go on the road and work with Eric? I said, yeah, because he had just graduated from Louisville playing football and had come into wrestling. So they were giving him his push and trying to work with him. And so they asked me to go on the road and work with Eric. And I said, yeah, when are you talking? They go, well, can you go tonight? So here I am, a country boy down here in the big city, don't know anybody. I got the clothes I'm wearing and my gear in my bag. That's all I had because I thought I was going home after this TV taping. And so Arn Anderson's giving me clothes, and Styles giving me clothes to wear, and I get my money and for that night, and then I jump in the car with Arn Anderson, and we go, and I do my tour that night, and then I got in the car with Harley Race was driving, Hercules Hernandez was in the front seat, and Mia Barbarian are in the back seat.
What a car.
So this is my first time, I'm scared shitless being with these guys. There's 100 years of talent right here, and I've been in the business like 3. So, I loved all them guys. I was real close with Barbie and Harley, and I even went home with Barbie one weekend. He lives in Charlotte. So I went home with him one night after a show we had, and spent the weekend with him and his family. Just awesome people. So, I had good experiences in WCW.
Yeah, it's interesting, because you obviously hear a lot of negatives about WCW. But for example, when I've had lots of conversations with Mark for talking about Johnny B. Bad, I mean, for him, the best time of his wrestling life was WCW, not the WWF. So a lot of people had great experiences there. I think it's sometimes coloured by the last couple of years and the demise of WCW that people forget. Actually, there was a lot of good times that a lot of talent had there.
Yeah, see, mine was the other way around. I enjoyed WCW, but I felt like it was just a little stepping stone. I felt more important and like I had a place to be in WWF.
Yeah.
Because Vince was bringing in young guys. I mean, me and Phineas and Hunter got let go right there about the same time. And then, a month after I got let go, I flew up and met with Vince and J.J. Dillon. And that's how this picture I just showed you come about. And I was only out of work for 6 weeks, and they started paying me and said, get you some overalls and come on the road. We'll start you on the road, and the rest was history. But going back to WCW real quick. Phineas, they brought him up. He was doing Memphis, and he was doing some stuff in Florida with Mike Graham and them. And so, but they brought him up, and he did his TV tape, his little TV debut, and they put us together that night, and here we are 30 some years later, and we've never had a cross word with each other.
Oh, that's amazing.
They call us the 1%ers.
Yeah.
People the tag teams over the years that wanted to kill each other were just the opposite. We we've done everything together, roomed together, lived together. And, you know, when we do these signings, we still ask for one big room so we can be together and hang out. And it's just the way it's always been.
Title Run Toys Series 1. Dangerous Danny Davis. Wrath. Juventud Guerrera. Ernest the Cat Miller. And Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Coming to the ring soon.
That reminds me of what I spoke to Barry Darcy before, talking about Demolition and talking about his relationship with Bill Eadie, and he said the same thing. He said, you know, they've never really had a cross word. They've always just been like brothers. I guess that's the magic of a real tag team, isn't it? Is being friends outside the ropes as well as inside.
Yeah. And I've heard the horror stories of guys that I thought were, you know, getting along behind the scene, but man, some of the tag teams, they really did not like each other. And I'm not saying you got to do everything. It's just that's the way we are. We did everything together. We were together all the time. You know, I wasn't married when we got together, and he wasn't either. And so we focused on our career and pushing each other. That was a good thing. We lived together too in Atlanta. So,
oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, we lived together in Atlanta. I moved from Tennessee down to Atlanta. He moved from Tampa up to Atlanta, and we lived there 2 years, and which was nice living there because a lot of our TV tapings were downtown. Yeah. So, but yeah, just us being together, and I'm a little older than him. I'm 4.5 years older than him, so I took on the dad role, the big brother role, and you know, would look after him, and yeah, just being together like that, you come up with so many more ideas, and you learn more about that person. Mm-hmm. And I think us living together helped us in the ring, because after a year, we could do anything in the ring, and we knew what each other was thinking. So that was, I think that propelled our careers too.
And we're going to, of course, get on to talking about the Godwinns, but just sticking with WCW for a second, is there any truth? I read that you were put under a mask because Dusty Rhodes felt that you were too good looking to be a heel. Is that true?
Yeah. He told me one day, he goes, yeah, thinking about putting you under a hood. You're too pretty. You got a baby face. But Tex, he's ugly enough. He don't need one. Tex will tell you that. He heard it. So
okay. So obviously you leave WCW, or you let go from WCW. You move over to the WWF. So who kind of pitches this idea to you then, that you're going to be Henry O. Godwinn, this hog farmer? Who kind of talks you through that, and how does that creative process go? You've got the concept drawing behind you.
That, like I say, I was off about 4 weeks, and Kevin Nash and Harley Race. Kevin told me to get I got it over here and I found it too the other day that you brought it up. I found the cassette. It's Shanghai Pierce talent tape, and it says the original. And so WCW made me a tape. The guys I knew down there in the recording, they made me a 15 minute tape of my career in WCW to send up to WWF.
Oh, wow.
Because, yeah, so Kevin called for me and spoke for me, and Harley Race spoke for me in WWF. So that's why I said within 4 weeks, I had a plane ticket to go to Stanford, and that's when I met with JJ and Vince. And that's how that concept started. Vince goes, well, tell me about yourself. What'd you do? And I said, well, I drove a truck. I'm a country boy. I worked on a psych floor, worked in a hospital for a while. And I said, we've always farmed. And when I said that, it was like, bing, a light bulb went off. And he goes, because he's a country boy too at heart, I think. Mm. because we used to call him Ridge Runner because he was from North Carolina and went to school there. So we always picked on him about running moonshine. We called him Ridge Runner, but yeah, it was. I told him, we had cows, we had hogs, we had a regular farm, and he goes, "What about the hogs? What all you do with the hogs?" I said, "Well, we raise baby pigs, we castrate them, we slop them, we feed them, and that's about it. Make them bacon. That's what we're doing." And he loved that concept, and then that's how that picture come about. He had somebody working on it, and they sent it to me in the mail and said, "This is what we're looking for." And so I went out and got the slop bucket, and we had the pigs. At the time we had the farm, so and the rest just sort of fell right in place. I just wasn't hard for me to adjust to it because I was used to the pig life, the farm life, so it was easy for me.
I mean, I've always been curious, and I've wanted to know the answer to this for 30 years. What exactly was in that slop bucket that you carried to the ring?
Are you talking about a specific slop bucket, like Sonny's, or just
like when someone actually got slopped, like Sonny?
Well, Sonny's the only one that got a sloppy slopping. That's what we were calling it. I seen on the Vice channel a few months ago where they were talking about this. Jim Cornette was talking about it on TV. He said, "Yeah, the Godwinns had a slop bucket for Sonny one night, and then come to find out there was 23 different DNAs in that bucket." I can tell you the story real quick if you want to hear it.
Sure, go on.
Yeah, we got to TV one day, and Bruce Pritchard said, "Y'all are going to slop Sonny tonight." I was like, "Oh yeah, that'll be awesome." So we got there, and they told us that, and we went down to catering, and I made my slop like I always do. Usually some bread and lettuce, a little milk, and just throw some other stuff in there, and that was usually the basic one.
Yeah.
So I made the slop. We went back to the locker room. We were going to go, talk about the match with the office. And so I set the slop down in the locker room, and all the boys were there. And I said, "Now, Sonny's getting slop tonight. Nobody mess with this." And I set it down, and we went, and, we were gone an hour or two, and come back. And I noticed my bucket was filled up to the top, which I never fill it to the top because it's hard to carry when it's filled to the top. I fill it about halfway, and I know what I got to work with. So while I was there, a couple people had took it in the shower, and were, the boys that were dipping tobacco were. So it was a joint operation, I guess, and so she got it that night.
She really did. I remember that. I remember that cover of a WWF magazine with her getting covered in the slop, like a really iconic image. That
it was one of the top selling magazines back then. I got a couple that me and Phineas have signed, and I'm trying to find out if I could ship one to her and get her to sign it. I'd put $100 on her books.
Yeah, bless her. Yeah. Oh, it's it was also, but it was a really good payoff to that storyline. Like, we're jumping ahead a bit, but that Godwinn storyline and kind of her, Phineas being so kind of in love and gullible, and you being there kind of looking out for him. And, yeah, it was a great storyline.
Yeah, a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and that night was a lot of good satisfactory after working with Sonny all them months. It was like pulling teeth sometimes, but that was a good payoff. I agree with you on that.
Which did you find her tough to work with as a talent?
Yeah. Mm. Yep, she was a toughie.
Yeah,
but she got pushed into, and she was spoiled, and it just rubbed a lot of the boys the wrong way, and she was just hard to deal with. That's why she was so many ribs were pulled on her.
Well, I mean, she became so big so quickly, didn't she? Like, I remember she was like the most searched for person on the internet in 1996. Like, she became a huge star so quickly.
She did, and then she became toxic. She let it get a hold to her, and she became toxic then.
I'm going to kind of circle back a little bit to when you make your debut, because I would kind of look at that concept art and hear about your story and think that you were going to be a ready-made babyface. But of course, you don't come in as a babyface; you come in as a heel. Was there ever any talk about you being a face at the start?
Yeah, it seemed. I mean, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah,
but it seems like they just wanted me not really to be sort of like in the middle, from what I can remember. Not really heel, not really a babyface, just somebody unpredictable and from the country and does things a little differently and has a different outlook on life. Like, big city lights don't really makes me nervous, but I'll take the country, it was sort of that. And then, of course, jumping ahead a little bit, we can come back, but, after breaking my neck against Hawk and Animal and turning heel, it all, I hate I broke my neck, but it turned out good the way we did it. And I like being a heel, being the Godwinns.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well as a heel, but I mean, I'll always have a soft spot for obviously the babyface Godwinns and Hillbilly Jim. And, I mean, that theme song, which is, of course, yet another kind of brilliant Jim Johnston creation. He's responsible for so many incredible songs during that time. But I'm a country boy myself, as I said off air. Kind of living the good life out in rural Wiltshire, and that song just kind of lives rent free in my head. I'm always hearing, "Don't go messing with a country boy." I've always got.
If I'm around here, I'm the same way. If I get a song and if I get that song in my head, I'll sing it all damn day. Just up a little thing. It's crazy.
The great song. But how does Phineas come into the equation? So, obviously you become a tag team. You get paired up with Hall of Famer Hillbilly Jim. Did you play a role in bringing Dennis into the WWF? How do you become a tag team again?
Well, when we got let go, he went back to Tampa. He had some stuff he had to work out. He had a couple of little issues he was trying to work out, and it was about a year before he come up. But I was always, after I got established a little bit and felt comfortable, I was always pushing for him to come up. So he finally got his shit together and come up and had a dark match. And I was there and watched everything, and they were pretty excited about it. And within, I don't know how long it was, they brought him in, and we picked up right where we left off. And we actually beat Skip and Zip and Sonny one night, just a non-title match, and the place went crazy. And we did the same thing with Davey and Owen. I still remember this night at Penn State University. We wrestled there, and it was snowing, and they had the belts at the time. And me and Phineas had been together a few months, and we got all the kinks worked out, and he turned right into a country boy quick. That slow mentality country boy. And so it worked good. And we had a non-title match with them one night, and they had the belts, and we beat them at Penn State. The freaking place went crazy, and we grabbed the belts, and then everybody was going crazy. And then we had to give them back. But just knowing that people were with us that night, I knew we were onto something. And then when we beat Skip and Zip and Sonny in Madison Square Garden the first time we won the belts, I'm getting chicken skin now just thinking about it. What a great time.
I'm Marc Mero, former WWE Intercontinental Wrestling Champion and 3-time WCW world television champion, I am thrilled to announce the release of my new book, Bad to Good. The inspiring story of a wrestling wild man chronicles the highs and lows of my life, both in and out of the wrestling ring. It's a powerful narrative of overcoming adversity and the importance of perseverance, no matter how tough the journey gets. Co-authored with my good friend and award-winning journalist, Ben Veal, this is a story I've long wanted to share, and I truly hope it inspires you. I hold nothing back in this book, revealing the untold truths of my extraordinary life, from my modest beginnings and my first boxing match to the struggles with addiction that almost consumed me and my evolution into the charismatic Johnny B. Bad. This book offers an insider's perspective on the world of professional wrestling and my journey as a sports entertainer. You'll read about my pivotal negotiations with Vince McMahon that led to the first ever guaranteed contract in the WWF and how that decision marked me within the locker room. I discuss the impact of my relationship with my then wife, Rena, known to fans as Sable, on my career. I also confront the darkest moments of my life, how I hit rock bottom and how that experience sparked my rebirth, leading me to become America's leading motivational school speaker, inspiring young people and transforming lives. Featuring forwards by my good friends Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger, along with contributions from Mick Foley, Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, and others who shared this wild journey with me. Bad to Good is a story you don't want to miss. Head to Amazon.com or WrestlingLife.online now to pick up your copy.
Yeah, it's amazing because obviously you're in the tournament finals at WrestleMania 12, which was when the Body Donners won. So then to get that moment in MSG must have been incredible.
Yeah, in that atmosphere and New Yorkers, you know, they're good, crazy people, man. And it was a hell of a night. They said the fire marshal was going off because people were in the aisles and there was too many tickets sold, and I was like, hell yeah, it's the perfect time for us to win the belts in Madison Square Garden. And I just wish, you know, Vince Russo screwed all that up for us. I just wish we would have had more of an opportunity to carry the belts and do our thing. Of course, you know, after I broke my neck, we went to Southern Justice, which we were getting ready to get the belts again. The night they sent me home, we were supposed to win the belts that night for a third time.
Right.
Past Southern Justice against Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. But right before the match, he goes, well, let's not do that. Let's get you home. And so I came home and had an MRI done, and I had it had herniated, and so they went in and did spinal fusion on me. Me and Steve Stone Cold had the same spinal fusion right there, just months apart.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I mean we're jumping way ahead, but I really liked the Southern Justice group that you have with Jeff Jarrett and Tennessee Lee, and I mean you two looked sharp in suits, and it was such a kind of nice change. And I did wonder why that didn't last longer, but obviously that was your neck injury, and
it was the neck. Yeah, they were real excited about Southern Justice, and I come up with that name.
Did you?
Which the company owns now, or they did. But we had cards made and everything. I got some over there. The original card I carried in my wallet, I still got. So, it was just that was going to be a great thing. That was going to be big because Jeff Jarrett was with us. And, you know, eventually I'm sure we would have been up against him and somebody. And I always tell the story about Howard Finkel when me and Jeff and Dennis shaved his head on Monday Night Raw that night in the ring. And he goes, Henry, you know, after you boys shaved my head, I never grew my hair back. I loved it. So Finkel always thanked us for giving him a haircut because he loved it.
Oh, there you go. Well, I've got to circle back. There's more stuff I want to ask you about the Godwinns, but obviously I'd be remiss to not ask you about probably your most famous match as a single star, which of course the the Arkansas Hog Pen match that you had with Hunter Hearst Helmsley in December '95. I mean, the concept of that match always fascinated me, but I think what really fascinated me as a young fan, and still to this day, is like the fact that for an entire night, like a whole section of the arena was forced to watch a wrestling show next to a pig pen. Who comes up with that idea, and how does it happen?
You can't get much countrier than that, can you?
Imagine buying tickets for that show.
Let's go to a WWE pay-per-view, and right here's a bunch of hogs. Well, we didn't know first how we were going to do it. Just, Vince said, we got to have a hog pen somewhere. So the rules were, if you got put in the hog pen match, it was over, or pinned anywhere. I can't remember. I think it was pinned anywhere or whatever. But man, I was so sore the next day after that. And I think a lot of the boys thought it was just going to be a ha-ha match. And that's what me and Taker and Matt were talking about on the 6 Feet Under, that it was pretty damn rough. I was sore. Hunter had 15 stitches that night in his back. We were afraid he was going to get some kind of swine disease. We had talked about that. Yeah. Taker said, he was going to get the bovine swine. So, but yeah, it was, people thought it was just going to be a little ha-ha match, but we beat the piss out of each other. And after the match was over, of course, Hillbilly Jim, that was mine and his first time together. He was special guest referee. But the chemistry me and Hunter had was just like crazy. It was awesome. And we got, we worked with each other over in Europe a lot during this, right before this time. So God bless him. He got slopped every night, and we'd have to wash our clothes out and hang them in the hotel room. But yeah, he was a trooper there. He took it every night, and it paid off because, our hog pen match was up for a Slammy that year. We were one of the top matches that year. And, Vince is waiting. I come back, I'm hurt, I'm all bruised up. I got mud in my ears. I'm covered in hog shit. Hunter's covered in hog shit. He's bleeding, needs stitches. And Vince goes, boys, I can't believe that was a hell of a match. Y'all pulled that off. Because when we found out what we were doing, he goes, now you guys can fill in. Here's what we want. And you guys fill in the rest. So we're young. I mean, we just come up here a few months ago from WCW. And Vince is telling us to come up with the whole match. So me and Hunter looked at each other and we go, well, we need to do our homework. So that was me and Hunter's making that whole match. We were told the time, what we had to do, fill in the rest. And I think two young boys come up with a pretty good layout.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact we're still talking about it 30 years on says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then, of course, the big rib that night, Owen run all the hogs in Vince's office. I didn't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There's a picture in the magazine.
Yeah.
There's a picture in the magazine of Vince opening his door, and here come a bunch of hogs running out. He loved it. Vince loved that shit. Yeah. And Owen was good at it. Him and Davey Boy were good at it.
Well, I mean, of course, being thrown into a hog pen by you absolutely killed Hunter Hearst Helmsley's career. I mean, we've never really heard anything else from Triple H again after that, have we?
Yeah. Yeah, when you're told, when Vince is waiting on you and he takes you in the office and praises you right there, I was like, what else can you do? We did our best, and he loved it, and it was very gratifying to hear that from him. I think it catapulted me and Hunter right away. Yeah,
absolutely. And, to be able to show that you can do a match like that, because I think it's very similar to like those Buried Alive matches that obviously Taker had. You have to be able to build the psychology of a match without the structure of a ring, don't you? And have to try and build up to the, what the payoff is, but you as a talent has got to work out how to lay out an entire match without the normal structure.
Right. And it was different for anybody. I mean, I don't think anybody's ever had a match like that where you're in the ring and then you throw your opponent out. And now you walk 75 feet to a hog pen match and y'all are fighting around there trying to get each other in that. So it was very different for us, but I think we did a good job and pulled it off. And like you say, it's still talked about and one of the best matches ever, I think.
Well, I believe it's the one and only time there's been a hog pen match, isn't it? I don't think there's ever been another one.
Yeah. I like to see somebody else try to have a hog pen match.
Wait for that to come back, yeah. You mentioned the kind of you turning heel, aligning with Uncle Cletus kind of as the Attitude Era came in, and you get your second WWF Tag Team title run with when you were feuding with Legion of Doom. But it was during that you fall on your head after taking the Doomsday device and crack your C7 vertebrae. But you ended up coming back very, very quickly from a kind of injury that would have ended a lot of careers. Can you kind of take me back to that night, kind of what happened in the ring and then your recovery afterwards?
Yeah. Well, we were going over the finish with the office, and they said they want me to take the flip off of Animal's back. So I was going to do it, but Hawk wasn't in his right mind that night, and I didn't say nothing. I didn't stooge him out because I wasn't like that. But I did say I don't feel comfortable doing it. I didn't say why. But Phineas said, well, he's never taken it. I've taken it once. Let me take it. So they went. I think it was Pritchard and maybe Blackjack Lanza that had our match, maybe. Anyway, they said, well, the office wants Henry to take the flip. So I said, okay, I'll take the flip. And sure enough, I took the flip. Hawk didn't hit me good. And I flipped backwards, and it wasn't right from the beginning. And I fell down, and I just watched that a couple weeks ago. I hadn't watched it in forever, and I pulled it up and watched it. It didn't knock me out, but it jammed my neck and cracked my C7. And I seen that flash, and I was dazed, and I felt something in my mouth, and it broke a few of my teeth, little chips of teeth. So Hillbilly jumped up and said, "You okay?" Him and Phineas jumped up and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I pulled a muscle or something." So I walked to the back, and when I got back there, everybody pulled my overalls down to my waist and told me to lay on this cold floor, concrete floor, and the ambulance pulled up, and they wanted me, because I could feel my body tighten up. They said, your body's trying to protect from your injury. It's starting to do all this weird stuff. So they took me to Binghamton, New York, and had an MRI up there. And the Indian doctor said, yeah, you cracked your C7. So I went home, and they said, take 14 weeks off and just nurse it, ice, and relax. And in 6 weeks, I called the office and I said, I feel better. I want to come back. So after 7 weeks, I went back on the road and started wrestling. Me and Phineas started working again together. And Vince had a trainer with me. We had a trainer at that time that worked with a lot of the boys. And he worked on me every night, icing and massaging and taking the ibuprofens, and nothing was working. So that's when I was telling you about, we were supposed to get the belts a third time against Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. And that's when I sent me home. I think that was in September of 98. And they sent me home, and I went and had my surgery, my spinal fusion done. And then I know the office called and said, we're going to let you go for now. and when you're ready, come back. So, I lost my son after that, and I just wasn't in a good place. I went back in 06 and 07 for a little while, signed a contract, but yeah, I wasn't in a good place. And, being a single dad and losing a son and then having another son you got to take care of and watch out after, it was a lot. So it didn't work out, which is, it's fine. I'm totally satisfied with my career. Everybody always asks me about the Hall of Fame. I'm like, I feel like I've already hit the lottery. Look at my career. Look, I was 2-time WWF Tag Team Champ. So, I mean, how many people can say that's been in the wrestling business?
Absolutely.
And so I feel like I'm already in the Hall of Fame with my friends I made from WCW. I mean, Kevin Nash is one of our first friends from WCW all the way up to WWE, and I still talk to Kevin some because me and him are in another club together. We both lost a son, and I try to support these guys, and Punky, Rock and Roll Express. I always talk to him because he lost a son, and Flair has, and Arn has, and all people that I've been attached with for 30 years. And so I send them a message sometimes saying, we're in a special club. And but yeah, it's nice having friends and from different spectrums and just different people. It's been a nice experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've had an incredible career, and I think, when I spoke to Godfather, I said, one day, do you think we'll ever see the BSK in the Hall of Fame? That's something I'd like to see. I'd like to see the group of you, including Yoko and including Paul. I'd like to see the BSK recognized as a group, because we've seen DX in there. I don't see why not. We can't have the BSK one day.
Yeah, I don't either. I think it would be pretty cool, but we'll see.
We'll see.
And just having all my friends, the clique. It's weird. We were BSK, but like one weekend we went home with Sean and stayed at his house in Texas. Here's two big ugly hillbillies going home with Shawn Michaels to spend the weekend and party. And Sean had a nice little gym in his house, so I got to work out. And then we stayed at Taker's house in Florida, and you used to stay at Yoko's house out in California. That was a lot of fun. Just good people and good memories, and something I'll cherish for the rest of my days.
Yeah, you've had an incredible run, and as we said, it's taken us a while to make this happen, but I'm so glad we've managed to do this, Mark. And
yeah, me too, man.
A lot of great memories from your time in wrestling. It's been lovely to kind of relive them today.
Yeah, mate, we'll have to do it again sometime. Absolutely.
We've got an open invitation. Maybe we should get the Godwinns on to do a double header.
We should do that. Maybe after a few months, we'll do it again, and then we'll have had Montreal, and we'll have WrestleMania, WrestleCon, more stuff we can talk about. And,
yep.
We'll do it.
You've got an open invitation.
We just scratched the surface, man.
We have absolutely. Well, that's what I love to do, and I find I've had a few guests on now 2 or 3 times, and the conversation flourishes and grows more as you get to know one another. So always, anytime you want to come back, just let me know.
Yeah, we'll do it, man. I've enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll just say a quick couple of thanks, Mark, before we wrap up. So huge thanks, of course, to my brilliant guest, Mark Canterbury, for one and only Henry O. Godwinn. Thank you to my producer, Jeff Easton from Tall Lake Productions, for bringing this together. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We'll be back soon for more real talk from real talent. Until then, be good to each other, show us some love on social media, pay it forward, and I'll see you soon. Bye.